This year's NFL Scouting Combine was one of the best in recent memory. All the top prospects really showed out. Even the guys that wound up getting hurt still showed out in this combine, and there's not really much to know as guys that really really dipped in their draft stock this year. A lot of guys really just rose their draft stock, and now it's just that much harder to make a mock draft and try to predict what these teams are going to do come that day in the draft. So today I'm going to give you guys my mock draft 2.0. It's not as much very different as a lot of post-combine mocks. This one is still a little bit logical. I have nothing against the guys that really over-exaggerate their post-combine mocks based on the rise or fall of certain players' draft stocks because of the combine. But I'm going to keep it still logical, but I'm still going to exaggerate a couple of guys' stocks, but still keep it very realistic and logical as if it really can happen in the draft. So let's talk about the first 7 and get that out the way. The first 7 is exactly identical in this year's in this mock from my 1.0. So I mean, you have your Joe Burrow to Cincy, Washington taking Chase Young. Now listen, Tua is not going to Washington. I think that's just an ultimate smokescreen that a lot of people are falling for, or a lot of people are just putting in their mock just to shake things up a bit, which I see nothing wrong with. But then we move on to Detroit taking Jeffrey Okudah. Now I really debated this. At first I actually had Isaiah Simmons going to Detroit because of the post-combine, because he has such a great combine. But I think Jeffrey Okudah had a really good combine too until he got hurt. It was a bad drill, the tracking the ball, high pointing the ball drill. He didn't do a good job at that. He was catching the ball already while he was hitting the ground, so he fell awkwardly, fell on his head. I don't think it was that bad. I think he just used it as an excuse not to compete in the rest of the combine. That being said, I still think he had a really good combine, and I think Detroit really needs corner over linebacker. You look at Detroit, they always need a linebacker, but they still have Gerard Davis, they still have Devin Kennard, they still have some pieces there at the linebacking core. I think they really need a cornerback. Their secondary in general is just bad. They traded Quandre Diggs, they're about to trade Darius Slay. They have Justin Coleman, who's probably the only valuable guy still on that secondary. They need a boundary corner. They need an outside corner in Jeffrey Okudah, and I still have them taking him here, even post-combine, over Isaiah Simmons. Obviously, the Giants taking Simmons as well in this draft, just like last mock draft. And then Tua and Justin Herbert both going 5 and 6 respectively. Listen, Justin Herbert had a good combine. I thought he would have a good combine, but the combine doesn't really emphasize his weaknesses. His weaknesses are football IQ and decision making. Everything else, the accuracy, the arm talent, is there for Justin Herbert, which is why he's a top prospect. But it doesn't show his IQ and it doesn't show his decision making, which I think really makes him a bottom first round to second round talent, because a team really needs to get that out of him. So let's get on to the differences in this mock draft from the 2.0. So I'm basically going to be talking the rest of the way down. There's a lot of things different. Some guys are the same, but a lot of things different. So I want to talk about Tristan Wirfs going to Arizona. I originally had I had Jerry Jeudy going here, but I'm going to take Tristan Wirfs instead. Tristan Wirfs looks like the best offensive tackle. I still don't have him as my best, but just because of the combine, it's the post-combine mock, I'm going to take Tristan Wirfs going. Listen, they need a right tackle. They don't need a left tackle. They need a right tackle. I think this is the perfect time to get one. Tristan Wirfs played right tackle in Iowa. You can also take a Jedrick Wills as well. Then we move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them still taking Javon Kinlaw. It's self-explanatory there. I mean, they need an interior defensive lineman, and I think he's probably the best player on the board that fits their needs. We then move on to the Cleveland Browns taking Mehki Becton. Listen, I said in my last mock draft, they need an offensive tackle here. They can't go in any other direction. New York Jets taking Jedrick Wills. I have that as the same thing as well. And this one's going to be interesting. A lot of people are probably going to get at me in the comments. And with all your respect, I don't care about your opinion. I care about my own. So, Las Vegas taking CeeDee Lamb over Jerry Jeudy. Here's why I think I would take CeeDee Lamb over Jerry Jeudy. Now, first of all, it's debatable who is the better guy. I get Jerry Jeudy is faster by 1/10 of a second. I get that Jerry Jeudy also is probably a better route runner. But when it comes to CeeDee Lamb, he just takes over games. When he was at Oklahoma, he demanded receptions. He demanded targets. You look at Jerry Jeudy over there in Alabama, you've seen Tua Tagovailoa hitting Henry Ruggs more than you would see Jerry Jeudy in the game. Jerry Jeudy would be there for big play moments, but he wasn't there there throughout the game. You look at CeeDee Lamb, he's constantly having 10 reception games all the time, almost 200 yards, multiple touchdowns every game. He is constantly part of the offense's game plan, and I think that's what John Gruden would want in a playmaking wide receiver. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a better career than Jeudy. That's a hot take there, but I think CeeDee Lamb's going to have a better career, so I have CeeDee Lamb going to Las Vegas over Jeudy, and then I have Jeudy going to Indianapolis alongside T.Y. Hilton. Now, the quarterback situation is still a big question mark, but I don't think they take Jordan Love here at 13. I think it's a little too high. I get all the potential that Jordan Love has, but they still have a quarterback over there, and I don't think they're going to draft Jordan Love 13th overall when they have other needs elsewhere. They can even go defense here as well. I had them taking AJ Epenesa last mock draft, so I'm going to have them taking Jeudy here. It's more of a best player available type of thing, so I think they get their wide receiver here alongside T.Y. Hilton. Next up, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, they can go edge rusher here. I really think they can, like K'Lavon Chaisson, because they have two of their best edge rushers in Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaquille Barrett, both free agents this year. So they have to re-sign at least one of them, but I think they are going to come to a deal with at least one of them. You still need an edge rusher, but there's Andrew Thomas is still on the board. He's one of the best tackles this year coming out the draft, and I don't think a lot of people are going to expect Andrew Thomas to fall down this far, so I'm going to have this team taking Andrew Thomas here. They need another tackle. They need some offensive line help for whatever quarterback they welcome into the building. So I'm going to have them taking Andrew Thomas here, but it can easily go like an AJ Epinesa or a K'Lavon Chaisson or whoever, but I think they take offense here. I think they take offensive line here. We move on now to the Denver Broncos at 15. Listen, they have a lot of problems on their defense. A lot of people are saying that they should draft Henry Ruggs out of Alabama, but I don't think that would be the right move whatsoever. I have them taking AJ Epinesa here out of Iowa. I think he's a great interior guy in the 3-4. I think he could play outside as well. I think he's going to be a better outside player than inside, but I think you could use him as a 3-4 defensive end. He's just that talented. You could put him at that 3 tech as well. Kind of reminds me of like a Trey Flowers type player or a DeForest Buckner type player. I think he could play outside and inside. I really like AJ Epinesa's versatility there on the defensive line. And with Bradley Chubb coming back from ACL and Von Miller getting up there in age, you still need another pass rusher there. I know they traded for AJ Bouye as well. That's what helps their defense a lot more as well. But they have a lot of problems on that defense. You're talking about a defense that after Bradley Chubb went down, well, he went down early as well, but they still, even with him there, they still struggled to get a pass rush. They didn't have like 1 sack until like week 6 or something like that, or week 4 even. I mean, they don't have a good pass rushing defense. They need to get to the quarterback better, and AJ Epinesa would help fix those problems there. Next at 16, this is a match made in heaven. I say it all the time with Atlanta Falcons players, every single draft. Listen, they have to take K'Lavon Chaisson here out of LSU. They love fast players at any position. I had them, I think I mocked them taking Takars McKinley a couple of years ago, and I loved that pick, and they wound up taking him in that draft. Listen, this is another guy that I think if he's there, the Falcons are going to take him. They love fast players at every position, and they would love K'Lavon Chaisson here from LSU. Next, I have the Dallas Cowboys. They need to replace Byron Jones somehow, and they still need help on that defense. I'm going to have them taking CJ Henderson out of Florida. Had a fantastic combine. Really helped his draft stock. We then move on to the Miami Dolphins. I had them taking Tristan Wirfs last mock, but I now have Tristan Wirfs going 8th overall. So I'm going to have them taking Austin Jackson, who had another offensive tackle that had a great combine, and so that's going to help rise his stocks a little bit. I'm not a big fan of Austin Jackson. I think just this mock are going to have him going this high, but I could see him going around the Tennessee area. I could see him going around the Green Bay Packers area, very low first round to early second round, but Austin Jackson, just probably for this draft, I'm going to have him going in the top 20. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, again with their second pick. I'm going to have them taking Kenneth Murray, the inside linebacker out of Oklahoma. He's one of the guys that got hurt in this combine, along with fellow inside linebacker Patrick Queen. Both of these guys got hurt in the 40-yard dash, but Kenneth Murray still had a great combine besides that. And Las Vegas, John Gruden went out and said, and Mike Mayock went out and said that they want great players that fit their organization, and great people as well. Kenneth Murray is a very, very good person, and I think they're going to fall in love with Kenneth Murray if they do any interviews with him. They need inside linebacker help so bad. I think this is another match made in heaven. Next up, Jacksonville. They have to find a way to fix the problem with letting go of A.J. Bouye, and they draft Christian Fulton, the cornerback out of LSU. We have a back-to-back wide receiver draft picks. Philadelphia, I'm going to have them taking Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama. Listen, a lot of people were getting at me in the comments talking about, you don't have Henry Ruggs going to Philadelphia. You had them passing on them and taking T. Higgins. You're crazy. All right, fine. I'm going to have you guys taking Henry Ruggs. Fine. It's not like it's going to do anything in the real draft anyway. So you guys are going to take Henry Ruggs, and you guys are still going to be short of a number one receiver. I say it every year. The Philadelphia Eagles don't learn, and they need a number one receiver instead of just focusing on speed. And now the fans just think about it as well. I'm getting a little hyped up about it because I'm a Giants fan, and I think Philadelphia Eagles fans are quite moronic when it comes to the wide receiver position, how they just look at it 40 times as far as the wide receiver position, and so they want Henry Ruggs more than anything in the world right now, but they still don't have a number one wide receiver. They need a number one wide receiver. They've went all these years without a receiver hitting 1,000 yards, and how long? When was the last person that reached 1,000 yards as a Philadelphia Eagles receiver? I don't remember one. And they're always having problems at the wide receiver position, and they're wondering why. So I'm going to have them taking Henry Ruggs here, but I don't think it's a good pick. We then move on to the Buffalo Bills. I have them taking a wide receiver as well. I'm going to have them taking Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver out of LSU. I think the Eagles would actually be better off drafting Justin Jefferson. I think he's more of a number one wide receiver type guy than a Henry Ruggs would be. I don't think an offense is really going to be based off of Henry Ruggs because I think his tool is speed, but I don't think he's going to be able to take over a game as a number one wide receiver, as if he's the number one potential threat. We then move on to Buffalo Bills getting Justin Jefferson. They need another weapon for Josh Allen. We then move on to the New England Patriots. I have them still taking Xavier McKinney. I think that's another good pick there that they should stick with. The New Orleans Saints, I have them taking Patrick Queen, the inside linebacker out of LSU. There's another team like the Las Vegas Raiders that really need an inside linebacker, and I think taking Patrick Queen would be a great pick here. We then move on to the Minnesota Vikings. I have them taking Grant Delpit. I don't think this is so much as a huge need for them. Yes, Anthony Harris is a free agent. Who knows if they're going to resign him, but you still have Harrison Smith there. I think this is more of a best player available type thing. I don't think there's anybody else. I mean, they can still get like another edge rusher because they got rid of Everson Griffin, but they still have other pieces there on that defensive line. I don't think it's a huge need, but I think Grant Delpit will probably be the best player available, so I have them taking him here. We then move on to the Seattle Seahawks at 27, taking Yetur Gross-Matos, the Penn State defensive end. Listen, they have two free agent defensive ends, Ezekiel Ansah and Jadeveon Clowney. Both of these guys might find new homes, and so that means they're going to take their guy, I forgot their defensive end, Collier, their defensive end they took out at TCU last year, which made no sense to me whatsoever, but they still took him, and I don't think he's going to be too great, so they're going to have to get another guy, draft another guy in here, another edge rusher, and that'd be Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State. We then move on to the Baltimore Ravens. I have them taking Zach Bond, the edge rusher out of Wisconsin. I think his draft stock rose a little bit because of that combine. But I don't know if the Baltimore Ravens are really going to go after an edge rusher. I'm not very confident in this pick. I know a lot of people want them to because they have a lot of free agent edge rushers. But they still have their drafted talent there. You have your Jalen Ferguson. You drafted another guy last year as well, another edge rusher, and so you have guys to replace those other ones, your starters at the edge rushing position. So I don't know if they're gonna get more edge rushers, more young talent edge rushers that need to be developed. So that being said, they can still go Zach Bond. I'm not really confident in that yet though. But next up, we move on to the Tennessee Titans. I have them taking Josh Jones, the offensive tackle out of Houston. Listen, they can get an edge rusher here. They really can. But as far as the market in free agency goes for right tackles, they have to replace Jack Conklin somehow. And I think they take Josh Jones here. just because it's hard to find a right tackle in this year's free agency class than it is to find an edge rusher in the free agency class. So they can get one in free agency and focus on getting in a right tackle here, which is very rare to find a good one in free agency this year. So I had them taking Josh Jones, a tackle out of Houston. All right, we're entering towards the last 3 picks here. I have Green Bay Packers drafting a wide receiver. Denzel Mims, the wide receiver out of Baylor, really helped his draft stock. He may get into the first round over a Brandon Ayuk, or a Jalen Reagor, or a bunch of these guys that were borderline first round picks. He might be the guy to come out because he really helped his draft stock, running that 4.45 at the height he is, at the weight he is. I mean, he's just an animal, and I mean, the Green Bay Packers are going to welcome him with open arms. Definitely, they need wide receiver help beside Devontae Adams. We then move on to the San Francisco 49ers here, and I'm going to have them taking Trevon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama. Big corner. He's weighing like 6'2", 207. He's big for a corner, and Alabama corners are just built like that. So I'm gonna have them taking him here and help that defense and help that secondary a lot. They need help there, and that's probably one of their biggest positions of need. They really don't have huge needs elsewhere, so I think they have to go corner here. It's pretty self-explanatory. And last but not least, I have the Kansas City Chiefs drafting Curtis Weaver, the defensive end out of Boise State. They need a pass rusher for sure, and to help that defense out, and Curtis Weaver will be a steal here. I think he's a mid-first round pick. I think he's that good, and I think he'll be a steal here for Kansas City at the end of the first round. That is my mock draft, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Did you guys like it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys just dislike it? Whatever it is, I want to know your comments in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, please. It helps out the channel a lot. Subscribe if you guys are new to join the 27 squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video.